So you've got a little downtime on your hands? Let's evaluate your quality of wrestling life. I'm Mike Quackenbush, this is Till We Make It, and today on the program, a topic that we don't cover enough. The quality of your wrestling life. I don't doubt that in your wrestling life, there are interactions, relationships, even organizations that have a very negative impact on you. And this downtime might allow an opportunity to start removing them. So on the topic of organizations, do you have recurring bookings? Somewhere, the locker room culture could be categorized as toxic. It has a negative impact on your mental well-being. Why do you need that in your life? Is there a shortage of professional wrestling organizations around the planet? Not that I am aware of, and I know they are scarcer and more abundant in certain parts of the world than others. But if it is having such a negative impact on your emotional and mental well-being, is it worth it? No matter what it is that they pay, no matter what opportunity they provide, no matter what that compensation is, it could be stage time, it could be notoriety, it could be prestige, no matter what way they choose to compensate you, is it really worth it? This downtime is a fine time to do a hard evaluation, and maybe on the flip side of this downside, decide whether or not you're going to allow that to persist in your career. And how about relationships? Is there a relationship taking place on the professional side in your wrestling career that could be termed toxic? It impacts you in a negative way. It makes you feel bad about yourself, it drags you down, it impairs your ability to do your best work. Is that something you need to keep in your life? This is a great time to take a very hard look at that, and I can tell you from my own experience, sometimes it is just out of laziness that I've allowed those things to persist for far too long, and they have hurt me in areas where I needed to excel because it was those relationships holding me back. And lastly, on the topic of your quality of wrestling life, what about the interactions that you are having that could be termed toxic? In my case, those are almost exclusively through the vehicle of social media. I have had to better curate what my experience is like by liberally using functions like block and mute and whatever else I have at my disposal to make sure that I am keeping that negativity out of my day-to-day routine. Being derailed by those kinds of negative or toxic comments costs me my forward momentum. And I can't allow anybody to cost me that forward momentum when I need to be working my hardest and putting forth my very best efforts. And if that sounds like you, take advantage of this downtime, do a little evaluation, and then do a little curating to make sure that those kinds of toxic or otherwise negative comments do not find a way into your active brain space. I hope that when this downtime becomes go time, you are able to achieve your greatest career success by taking advantage of the opportunity that the downtime has allowed for self-evaluation and course correction. To help you along the way, I have something I've been working on for quite a little while. It's called Toolbox, Building Better Pro Wrestling. It is an examination of the 4 major themes that ran through my podcast series, Kayfabe 2.0. So if you are a fan of that podcast, no doubt this material will be familiar to you. It works in conjunction with my previous book, 7 Keys to Becoming a Better Performer, a book for fellow pro wrestlers. And I would wager to say, by the time this video reaches you, Toolbox, Building Better Pro Wrestling will be available on Audible. It is an audiobook I read to you myself.